Hello, it is Sunday the 21st. It's creeping up on 12:30, about 12:25 right now, and that's what we get to look at while we hike. No idea what that snow-covered mountain is way out in the distance. Not sure if you can even see that in the video, but that's probably the most pleasant view we've had today. It hasn't been a bad day, but that's awfully nice. Tehachapi was great. We got in there late. We ended up pushing some extra miles, did a 25-mile day, got off the trail late, but had a ride lined up where we had gotten trail magic and boogied on over to Tehachapi and stayed at this hostel. This hostel was fantastic. It was just a couple of people that opened up their backyards to hikers, had a little gazebo back there, a charging station, some appliances, a coffee maker and coffee, and a fridge, and some cots for people to stay in. Had a porta potty as well as a plumbed-in shower. It was really hard to get the right temperature in the shower. It was like either hot as hell or taking an ice bath, but there was kind of no in between. But that aside, it was absolutely great. Walking distance to a lot of restaurants and biking distance to the post office or to Walmart. And they had bikes there with locks, so you could take them out at your leisure, and it's all done donation based, and they kind of just take the donation money and go out and buy a bunch of ice and refreshments and beer and stock the place up. So pretty cool gig. So that was a lot of fun. Ate a lot of food, got all the town chores done, cleaned up. Actually went to a barber for a fresh shave. So that was cool. First time with a straight razor shave from a barber. So town was great. Actually, Philip Sheffley, a buddy of mine, mutual friend of my best friend Ryan, lives out this way, and it worked out really well timing wise. He was able to come up yesterday and have dinner and hang out and bring me some hot sauce. So cheers, buddy. I appreciate that. And had dinner, so that was really nice. And then this morning woke up 5:30, packed everything up, went to go get in the car where we were staying. The entrance was from like an alleyway into the backyard, but you give out the address for somebody to give you a ride, and they're gonna pull up to the front of the house because that's the way that maps and navigation works. So we were going around to the front to wait for this trail angel that was picking us up at 6:30, and I went around, had my hands full, and asked Runner to hold the Coke that I was having in the morning for my extra caffeine, and then put my pack down. Driver came up, put my bag in there, and couldn't find my freaking trekking poles. Looked all over the place, wasn't able to find them. Couldn't remember if I had taken them out or not. I thought about it a bit more, and I think I did, and I'm pretty sure what I did was when I set my bag down, just put them in a bush and then walked away. So that's a really dumb way to lose one's trekking poles. So the downside is I'm trekking pole less, but the good side is, if this happened in the Sierras, I'd be without poles for quite a long time, but I was already able, I still had service this morning and was able to order a new set to Ridgecrest, where I'll be in probably 3-4 days, something like that. So climb early on this morning, got that knocked out, luckily while it wasn't too hot. Just took a quick little break, probably 15-20 minute break, maybe half hour. Just stretched a little bit, took the pack off. Now we're back on the road until we get to the end of this water carry. So got to start out with a 16.7 mile, I think, water carry. And then after that, we got another 20 miles. So the water carries in this section are not ideal, but we're gonna get through it. And yeah, so Current plan, we'll probably only end up doing about 21 miles today. There's kind of a drought in camping spots at 21 miles in that doesn't break until you get 27 miles in. I think I'm feeling good. I'd be up for 27 miles today, but I am second out of 5. So I got 3 people behind me that very well might think otherwise or have other plans. So we'll see. Either way, I'm not stressing it. But if we did 325s, that would leave us with just a 10-mile day to get into Ridgecrest in 3.5 days, which I much prefer leaving 10 miles or less as opposed to like doing 25 and getting into town late when you don't even get a rest day with your hotel stay or whatever accommodations we end up doing in Ridgecrest. But I don't feel too strongly about it, so we'll see how everybody else feels up here at Water and come up with a game plan and execute. And wash, rinse, repeat kind of seems to be our marching orders, but it's good. It's good. I really feel like our group as a whole has a really good routine. We've got some core members, and then some other people that kind of pop in and pop out, might stick for a while, might not. I don't know at this point, but kind of me, Beached, Runner, and River are kind of the core. And then Nightmare tagged along for a while. Now we got a couple of guys. Spider-Man, he's back. He hiked with us, summiting Baden Powell. And then we've got a couple others here and there. Might hike with us a day or two. May end up connecting again, may not. So that's kind of cool. Just kind of something that's been on my mind a bit. Just kind of the nature of these trail groups and how they ebb and flow and grow and split. So it's kind of a interesting people behavior from a sociological perspective. So we shall see, but I'm going to try not to think too hard because I've got all this to look at. And when I think too much, I tend to get in trouble. So until next time. Good morning. It is just after 6:30 on Monday, May 22nd. Here's what we're looking at as we hike. So not too shabby. Right over there. I think that's right. Yeah, right there. Over on the other side of those windmills. Actually on the other side of the hill behind those windmills, where the other windmills are that you can barely see, is where we camped. Probably about 4 miles back now. So nice start to the day. Got a pretty early start, but again, not quite as early as I had wanted. I woke up at about 4:20, 4:25. Saw that Beached, who was planning on leaving a little bit earlier than me, hadn't left yet, and hung out in bed for like another 30 minutes. So I was trying to get started between 5 and 5:15. I think I ended up putting my pack on at 5:18, so not terrible, but about 5 minutes of walking down the trail, and I needed to go take care of some business. So I promptly dug a hole and took care of business. So here we are now. So actually kind of similar to yesterday, 16 miles from where we camped until Water. So dry camp in a 20-mile water carry. Not my favorite thing to do. Pack's a little bit heavy, but it's not terrible. I started out this morning with about 2.5 liters. I've drank half a liter or less so far, so I've got 2 liters to get probably about 11 or 12 miles at this point. So early's important because there's absolutely zero chance I'd be able to make that happen during the heat of the day, but right now it's not too bad heat wise. So I got tricked this morning by Mother Nature herself. I woke up and was like, oh man, it's kind of chilly. That's nice. It's gonna be hopefully not as hot today, and a nice chill for the first bit of the day. That sounded really nice. And then I started hiking and went up just a little hill, and it probably went up 10 degrees. So where we were sleeping, and I actually thought of this before I set up my tent, so it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did nonetheless. But I was thinking how we were in what was going to essentially be a cold well in the mountain, section where it's down enough so there's not a ton of wind and air circulation, but all the cold air just kind of gets trapped down in there. And that's what it was. So good news is no noticeable condensation last night, which happens a lot in those cold wells because you get down below the dew point there, even if it doesn't get down below that elsewhere. But no issues with that, so absolutely grateful for that. And I slept great last night. Nice flat spot underneath some tree cover, which could have helped with the condensation, but I don't think there was even dew on the trees. But that helps block out the stars and the moon. But the moon is not super bright right now. It's I'm not sure if it's a new moon or just a crescent. Honestly, I don't remember seeing it in the past couple of days. So normally I know exactly what the lunar cycle is doing. Oh, we're on the other side of the mountain. Would you just look at that? So far, a good day. It's early yet, though. Only been hiking for an hour and 20 minutes. So, I was thinking a little bit, though. I wanted to talk just a touch about my trail family, at least the core members. So, there are a few that kind of bump on, bump off, might hike with us for a little bit. We got one of those right now, Spider-Man. He might stick around, I don't know. But we hiked with him on Baden Powell and then didn't hike with him for a few days. And then he caught back up with us. He got off in Acton and went to LA to hang out with some friends and hit up a concert, I guess, and then got back on trail and caught up. But him and Nightmare, we hiked with her for probably about a week from Cajun Pass until Agua Dulce, or Acton rather. And then we met back up with her, hiked one day. She went into LA as well from Acton just for the night and then came back. But she's hopping off trail. She's got a wedding she's going to tomorrow. So she might try and catch up with us by the time we enter this year's and get up to Kennedy Meadows, assuming that plans don't change. But the actual kind of core group at this point seems to be, we had a bigger group and that kind of split up. So right now it kind of seems like me, Runner, Beached, and River. So just wanted to talk a touch about them. If you're looking through the photos, I'm sure you'll see some pictures of them. Runner has long blonde hair. She's normally got it up in a ponytail and she's wearing a red cap. She's Canadian, lives in British Columbia, does alpine skiing, and she's a nurse. Nurse for patients that are dealing with kidney failure and waiting for a new kidney. So she's pretty cool. Really excited that she's got the experience that she does. She's also got a couple of friends, or one friend, Tippy Top, who's got another friend or two that might be joining us. They've kind of been the front runners of their trail family and are tired of waiting for their trail family, and the rest of their group is not planning on going through the Sierras, and they would like to, so we might be joining forces for that. But we got to watch out because we don't want a huge group going through the Sierras. I think 6 to 8 would probably be optimal. Hell, even less would be okay, but we're not going to be less than that. But I think 6 to 8 max is probably ideal. We'll see what we end up getting. And then Beached. So Beach is from Minnesota. He's 24. Oh yeah, Runner's 29. I'm the old man of the group at 33, so that's fun. But Beach is from Minnesota. He's normally wearing a blue Sims hoodie, and he's got longer hair. Normally wearing a hat, but everybody's wearing a hat. His hat's white, and he has a blue Exos, and he does fishing tours. So he hangs out on a boat all day and takes old rich guys out to get drunk and catch some fish. I think seasonally he does 3 or 4 months up in Alaska each year and 3 or 4 months in Idaho each year, and then spends 3 or 4 months where he actually lives in Minnesota each year. So that's Beached. River is 29. He is, and that's River Dance, but we just call him River. Oh, trail name. So Runner got her trail name. Runner short for Road Runner. She got her name. There's a pretty steep climb coming out of Julian and Scissors Crossing. She did not do it at an optimal time, and started to feel the signs of heat exhaustion and dehydration, and literally laid down in the middle of the trail, tried to get under some shade, drank some electrolytes slowly as to try not to throw them back up, and then ending out that water section once she had recovered just a bit, she ended up running to get into camp where water was. And there was somebody foreign, I don't know where from, in a tent, was like, "Did you run to get here?" She was like, "Yeah, I was out of water." And he dubbed her the Road Runner. So that kind of stuck. Beached, he has never done any true backpacking. He's done a lot of go out into the woods, set up camp, and do, you know, kind of spoken wheel type stuff, you know, venturing out from a base camp. But I hadn't done really any backpacking. Outdoorsy guy, lives most of his life outside, but just hadn't done any backpacking. And so he was dubbed Beached because he's kind of like a beached whale, just a little bit out of his element. And then River. River keeps his name from the Appalachian Trail. Something about dancing in Port Clinton, Pennsylvania, which is where we just got off of in our last trip. But anyways, I don't know exactly the details behind that, but his name is River Dance nonetheless. He is a computer programmer. I think he works for a civilian company that contracts for the government. So interesting guy. He has hiked the AT and the CDT. So when he touches the northern terminus in Canada, he'll be completing his Triple Crown. Sorry, I'm breathing just a touch hard. We're going up just a little bit, but not a ton. So River Dance is a good guy. He's a little bit old school, no trekking poles, which I'm rocking right now, but not out of choice. And he's not planning on bringing an ice axe into this year, as he's when we did Baden Powell with him, he just found a stick, cut it down to the right size, and used that essentially identical to how you would an ice axe. You know, sunk it in for stability long ways with the shaft down, and held on to it, and would have self-arrested if the need arose, similar to how you self-arrest with a trekking pole, just digging the tip in. So that's his plan. I'm glad I have my ice axe. Better him than me, but he's got like 7,000 trail miles. He's been all right so far, so I reckon he'll probably be all right again, but that's not what I'm choosing to do. So that's kind of the core of the trail family at this point. We will see if it increases, if it decreases. I doubt it'll decrease. If anything, probably end up grabbing a couple other stragglers for when we go through the Sierras, but I would like to keep from being too big. The bigger you are, it just seems like there's going to be somebody straggling. More time waiting, less time hiking. Not ideal, but it is actually pretty great how similar each of us are speed-wise, and we've kind of got our own little routine. Geez, this video is already 14 minutes. I'm gonna try and shut it down here in a second. But speed-wise, we're all pretty similar. It seems like we get to camp, get to water. Every once in a while, you'll be waiting for an hour or so for somebody, but normally that's when something's happened, or if you're just, busting ass getting there early and other people are taking their time. But for the most part, we're pretty similar. It's not uncommon to, not see someone for 5 hours the entire morning, stop where we have decided to stop, and 15 minutes later, here comes the rest of the group right up behind you. So that works pretty well. Last thing I did want to touch on was yesterday. Heavy packs yesterday. Started out with 4 liters of water and 5 or 6 days worth of food, even though we're going to get to where we're going to Ridgecrest in probably about 3.5 days. But resupply issues, post office issues, ended up getting a box that had more food in it than I needed, but I'm not gonna waste it. So here we go. My shoulders just get to get blasted. It's fine. So heavy packs, bit up, long climbs, exposed. Luckily, we got on trail at a reasonable time, about 7:15, and got the water carry knocked out around 1:30. Got there, hung out for a couple hours, took a little nap. That was phenomenal. And then just about 4 or 5 miles from there to get to camp. And then camp was great. So that is about it. I am gonna put this away and get back to hiking. So yeah, until next time, one last look at the view though. That is not a bad day.